Hey, don't wake me up if I'm dreaming, but this is J. Anthony Frankie, and you're listening to On the Fly with Stevie and Gordon. Cheers.
You are listening to On the Fly.
What's up, guys? On the Fly is back again tonight with another episode. This is an episode we actually went live a few weeks back, and I've been trying to kind of stockpile some interviews, and we've got something special hopefully planned for episode 100, and I'm trying to wait on those special guests because their schedule is really hectic, and I totally understand, and I'm trying to just hold off doing episode 100 until they can find time in their schedule. But anyway, tonight we interviewed country music singer Mr. Annie Vander, and we talked about all things country music, all things music, her influences. We actually had a good story about one of my favorite bands. Her husband Brian is a big fan of Tesla, and I am a big fan of Tesla, which you'll hear a funny story about something she did for her husband involving Tesla. And we have a lot of back and forth with Brian, and actually have plans to bring Brian on the show later on. So be on the lookout for that. We might be a Tesla episode there. But yeah, we'll talk about her newest single tonight, and which is biography. It's a biography pretty much of how the story of how her and her husband met. And she's got a great story. I'm not going to give too much away because I want you to watch it. But she's got a great story about how she came to get into country music. And you guys will really enjoy it. I mean, this is a story that could be movie stuff. And if guys, I have to apologize if my audio sounds a little off. I'm having some issues with my cord from my microphone, so I'm having to use the webcam audio. So I apologize in advance for this intro, but I got a new cord's coming, so use it so much I'm about wore out. But yeah, enjoy this interview, guys. And after the interview is over, don't stop after the interview is over, because we're going to have tonight the song on there for you guys to listen to after it's over. So you guys enjoy. Check her out on social media. She's got her own website, AnnieVanderMusic.com. Check her out there. And thank you again to Nicole at Brickshore Media for getting these great interviews for me. Really enjoy working with these guys, and hopefully there's more to come from them in the near future. You guys enjoy the interview, and we'll see you next time on The Fly. What's up, guys? On the Fly is back again, and we've got another great interview tonight with another Brickshore Media superstar, so you say. We had Noelle last week again. Noelle we did our top 10 favorite Trisha Yearwood songs, which I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, Noelle, you better get your little Twitter fans out there to vote for you on there, because Team Noelle is losing to Team Stevie right now. My list was better than yours, but not to rub it in or anything. But no, we had a blast. We always have a blast with the people from Brickshore Media. Nicole Zeller does a great job getting these guys over to me. And tonight, we've got one we haven't talked to before. Fresh off the release of her brand new single tonight, we've got Miss Annie Vander with us. How you doing, Miss Annie?
Good. How are you, Stevie?
I'm good. Just hanging in here, waiting for this weather to change for good.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. We've had 80 degrees one day, and then it would be like 60 degrees the next, highs of 60. And I'm like, just, I'm a hot weather guy. I like the summertime. I don't want it too hot, but I like 75 to 80 degree weather. Just do it for once. I mean, just get it done with. I'm tired of it going, because today was a kind of cool day for us here. I don't know
Are you based Are you based in Nashville?
No, I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, you're north. Okay. So we
Yes,
had
ma'am.
Saturday night. So I'm just outside of Chicago. Saturday, it was 80 degrees. And by the next day, we had a freeze warning. We had snow on the ground yesterday morning. I'm like, come on. So
We actually, my daughter and my wife, we went out to eat. Was it Saturday night? It was one night last week, and it was like 80 degrees in, and I looked at my phone, and a frost warning for the next morning was up. So I was like,
yeah.
God knows, get it over with. I'm ready for summer.
Yeah.
But
Amen.
thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Illinois, right? Is that close to where you're at now?
Well, I am in Illinois. I moved to Yorkville, which is, depending on traffic, like 45 minutes, an hour from where I grew up. So my house was technically 3 doors outside of Chicago proper, on the south side of Chicago. And then, but I'm a Cubs fan, so I still like North Side baseball. I do like baseball.
I don't need to mention Bartman, do I?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, nobody. Anyway,
You know what?
No comment, but yeah.
I'm a Orioles fan, and I'll pull for the Braves too. But I'll tell you what, I was, and I think everybody except whoever the Cubs beat in the World Series that year, I can't remember who it was, but I think everybody was pulling for the Cubs to win that World Series that year. That's in a just a struggle for them over the years, and to finally get it, it was great. But growing up, musical influences. Who are you listening to?
Well, nobody mainstream. My mother actually and my dad would not allow me to listen to mainstream radio. Wow. Yeah, so it's really kind of funny how I ended up where I did for so many reasons. My mom, they were very religious, so we were allowed to, like TV, for example, we were allowed to watch the Mother Teresa channel, the Disney Channel, or the Weather Channel.
Oh, wow.
So as far as FM radio goes and all that stuff, that was a no-no. My dad, in the car, though, he had a lot of Creedence Clearwater on, so he didn't really follow the rules, so to speak. They did listen to the oldies, but mostly in the house, my mom had, just like Christian music on. We did hear a lot of Amy Grant, Peter Cetera, stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So, but then, like when I was out in school, I would hear, or anywhere else besides the house, I would hear all the mainstream stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good song. I had no idea who it was, but yeah. So it really wasn't until my later teens and early 20s that I really got to dive into, some of the more mainstream artists. So, and then I was in band and choir and all the things. So I actually feel like as an artist, it almost helped me though, because everything I know a lot of people like a little bit of everything, but I'll go from classical to hard rock to even rap or to, and then to country. I'm just all over the map. Right. So, yeah. So,
and that's something, I talked about with somebody else that when I was a kid, I was born in 73. So growing up in the 80s, I was like I said, I was a Kiss fan. I am a Kiss fan, but I was a fan of that 80s rock stuff. And, people would always typecast, and I was guilty of it myself, because in the 80s, I didn't listen to country music. I was like, that's totally off. I'm not even going that direction. No Judds, no George Strait or anything like that, until I guess Garth Brooks came out with No Fences, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I've been a country fan. I don't like when people typecast where if you listen to that, you can't listen to this. I like good music, whether I do some classical, I can't get it. I'm sorry, jazz people, I can't get into jazz. I'm sorry, I've tried.
I like jazz. I forgive you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but and the rap today is just not my thing. More power to you if you listen to it, but it's just not my thing. So good music is good music to me. I don't care what it is. But we've got some people comment. B Mullen saying
Oh,
hi.
that's my husband. Hi,
Your husband, hey, he needs to get on here. We need to do some Tesla talk, guy. We need to get you in here talking about some Tesla later on.
You have
But
to
yeah.
tell he saw your drum head, Brian. He
Oh,
saw
yeah.
it in old interviews. So yes.
That was pretty awesome, dude. I'm a big Tesla fan from way back. But when did you start with music? I mean, did you pick up an instrument early on, or did you,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. So I picked up clarinet. Well, I guess technically, if you want to be super technical, probably the recorder.
Yeah. I think everybody
my parents
did
were
that.
probably like, "Oh my gosh," But then, fifth grade, it was clarinet, and that was my main instrument for many years. And then when I got to high school, I don't want to say I was bored with clarinet, but it was like, okay, I kind of, my parents, I remember going to the band instructor and I was like, I need help with X, Y, and Z. And he's like, you need private lessons. And my parents always did a good job. And I feel like maybe they couldn't afford private lessons, but I never knew that was the reason why. And it was, it was a smaller school that I went to. And anyhow, I started venturing off. I'm like, I want to learn how to play the flute, and I want to learn how to play the saxophone, and I want to learn how to play the trumpet. So then they call it cornet in band. So I played the cornet in marching band, and then I would switch off like where they needed me to play, whether it was the cornet or it was the clarinet. So I kind of dabbled in a lot of stuff. I did choir for just a little while in high school. Right. But yeah. So I've always had music in me. It's always been a passion. And then I would sing, and I do the karaoke bars and stuff like that in my 20s. And then I met my husband with a Tesla drum head on the wall.
Yes.
But he didn't have that because I got him that as a gift. And I'm so happy I got that for him. I already told you the story of how, but
yes, that's a great story too. If you guys, we may talk about that when we bring it back on, but or when we bring him in here. But the Tesla drumhead, Tesla is a band. Like I said, I think that was my first concert. Was Tesla opened up for Poison in '88. I saw him in Virginia. That was before Love Song hit the airways and became such a big hit. They played it that night, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, this is going to be big here." But back then. And it was humongous.
Yeah.
So your story, and we talked a little bit about this before we went on air. Your story is not the typical girl goes to Nashville story and has success in Nashville. Your story is like something you could put in a movie. I told you that before because you didn't do it the same way. You actually had another career before you decided to go to Nashville, and the circumstances were not the best circumstances to do. Start out with a pet care business.
Yes, it did.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into the pet care business.
Well, okay, so so I guess I could leave off 20s, teenagers, 20s in a karaoke bar. I met my wonderful husband at, I should say I didn't meet him at a karaoke bar, but re-met him at this karaoke bar in my 20s. And the song Tonight that I just released is actually about it's based off of our love story, but we can get back into that later too.
Yeah.
But when he and I started dating after an evening at that bar, I was working at a bank, and I just remember being burned out, and it was just a job, and I had these big dreams of I want to go to veterinary school, and but we're in love, and we got married, and I thought I was going to be able to do it all. Like, okay, I'm going to be a wife, and then I'm going to take off and go to vet school. But then I'm like, okay, it wasn't realistic. but he has been so supportive, our entire marriage, and we've been married for quite a while. He said, I just want you to be happy. So I remember, I'm like, I want to work with animals. I remember driving by, we were probably coming home for dinner or from going out to dinner or something. And I was like, gosh, I said, it'd be nice to just start dabbling in the veterinary field. So I started working as a receptionist at an animal hospital on the north side of Chicago, and then I started working as a vet tech, and I did that for, probably about 20 years or so. And I kind of like worked my way out of working for somebody else as a vet tech, and I started my own business. And we did pet care. We took care of special needs pets.
Wow.
I became a certified dog trainer. So I had about 5 girls working for me at a point, and, we had little zones and areas we would take care of these animals. And then in 2019, I fell down, shattered my wrist. It was 60 below in Chicago.
Ooh.
And so story gets a little better. And you might have seen it if you've seen one of my other interviews or heard. So my husband and I were leaving for a Southern Caribbean cruise. And yes, my bag was packed at the door. The Uber was on the way to come and get us. And I just, Brian, that's my husband's name. We were kind of going back and forth about how early we should leave. And I just remember slamming the car door, and I took 3 quick steps out of the car and down I go. But it was so cold that ice melt wasn't going to work. And we wanted to drop a key off at our neighbor's house because of the cold. We were afraid like our garage door isn't going to open for the pet sitter. Maybe her car won't start. So the neighbors could at least walk there and let the dogs out. Well, when I fell, I screamed. And I don't know if it was because I was frustrated or I actually did get hurt. And I told my husband, he goes, get up. I don't know if I can swear on here, but I'm
You're
like, why are
fine.
you yelling at me? And I was so angry because he's yelling at me. And I just said, just let me lay down a minute. Well, obviously I'm in shock because I wanted to lay down and put my face on the ice. So then I ended up with frostburn on my face. It was just like instantaneous. So my hand was sideways. I had to have surgery. We didn't go on the cruise. So then I developed a neurologic disorder and a whole lot of stuff. I lost the business. There's just so much that happened, and really a really long, almost year of recovery. And I found myself making music, and somehow I'm here talking to you.
Yeah, I had never heard of CRPS before. They call it the suicide disease, and a lot of people don't get over that, and that's why it's called suicide disease. But you managed to power through it. I mean, that's got to be a testament to your will and to your faith right there that you got through it.
Well,
I can't imagine. Looking up the stuff about that, I can't imagine what you were going through. And I mean with him too, I'm sure it was tough seeing you like that on him. I've been through 2 emergency surgeries with my wife, and that's the most helpless feeling you can have right there, is seeing the one you love sitting over there. You can't do anything for him.
I can't imagine how he felt either, because I remember when we were leaving, even just for the cruise, and we were both saying, and he was way more burned out than me. He's like, oh my gosh, finally I get a break. And, and then it's like, so not only is, he just needed the break in general. So now his vacation's canceled too. And it's like, well, not your vacation isn't canceled, but okay, your wife will be better in 6 to 8 weeks. But then it's like, now she's got this complication. Now we don't know if she's ever going to live a normal life again. My mom actually had an issue. She fell down. She broke her shoulder. And I really need to look it up because I keep telling people this story, whatever the top bone in your arm is here. I forgot what one that's called, but she broke that, and she had plate and hardware and all the things put in. And in the course of she had a lot of issues. And after about 5 years, she finally passed away from a pulmonary embolism. But
Oh Lord.
she, in hindsight, we think that she may have had CRPS. And you don't die from CRPS, but it can really complicate some stuff. Right. And just her symptoms, like I said, in hindsight, it's, they eventually said it's just unknown neurologic disorder. They couldn't diagnose her with anything. And so I have that going through my mind, like, oh gosh, I don't want to end up like my mom. I don't have a job anymore. My husband and I had just moved into our house, and there were just so many things had changed. So things looked really, really dark for a bit. But I was really fortunate that, my husband, he had a job that was understanding, and we had a friend who helped, and he took me to therapy literally like 4 times a week sometimes. And he'd drive from our house to the Gold Coast in Chicago, which was not an easy drive. Right. And I was blessed to be diagnosed early, and have a good support system around me. And excuse me, sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
And yeah, so I mean, it really was a team effort getting me better. But the thing, I almost feel a little guilty being in remission and pain-free now, because there are so many people who never get to that point, and people are like, how'd you do it? And I honest to God don't know. I feel like it's probably dumb luck. Yeah, probably a lot of willpower and dumb luck. And, because a lot of people never get the early diagnosis. I found somebody who actually knew how to treat somebody with CRPS, because when I was initially diagnosed, the first therapist I had, when she found out, she's like, you cannot come here anymore. And she's like, you cannot tell anyone here I told you that. She's like, because I could lose my job. Wow. And she's like, there's a guy on the Gold Coast. She goes, it's going to be at least an hour drive for you. She's like, but that's where you need to go. Because what happened is, even though I broke my wrist, the pain had traveled up my arm, and my shoulder started to freeze. So basically the pain can travel through your body. It can move to your organs and it's nasty. Right. And so they had added shoulder to my therapy, and I did one more therapy session at that facility. And it was when I saw the person for my shoulder, she said, or I actually asked her, I said, so have you ever seen anyone with CRPS go into remission? And she goes, I've never seen anyone with CRPS. And so I knew right then, I'm like, I got to get out of here. And so yeah, there was I had a lot of I don't know. I try to tell myself sometimes it's something that might have come out later on in life, and maybe I was just lucky that it happened when it did, and someone was looking out for me, because I found a doctor who knew how to treat it, and at the time we had people who were able to help. And who knows, if this would have come out later on in life, I might not be so fortunate. So
it's true. Good Lord was looking out for you.
Yeah.
We got some more comments. Your husband was talking about Tesla. He said, awesome, my favorite band. Good taste, I'll tell you. And I don't know who this is, because StreamYard's got a habit. If you guys don't sign in and give permission, I just see Facebook users. So I'm just seeing Facebook user up here. You can identify yourself. It says, hey, Stevie. Hi, Annie. Proud of you for overcoming your diagnosis. Much respect. So,
thank you, whoever that is.
Yeah, whoever that is, you identify yourself up here, because we can't tell who you are. But and going back a little bit, working with the animals. I'll tell you this: I love animals. I am a big time animal lover. You can have a movie, one of these Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where they kill 1,500 people. I won't shed a tear. You let one dog get even hurt.
Yes.
In a movie, and I'm boo-hooing like a little kid. But yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean, but I'll tell you this story. I actually started dating a girl. She invited me over to her house. I was like 19, and she's like, "Okay, we're going to watch a movie." I said, "Okay, what movie you got?" What was Homeward Bound? And I was sitting there like, okay. And the part at the end where the old dog, what I think is Shadow is his name, doesn't come at first, and I'm just sitting over there. I'm acting like I'm yawning because I'm like, I mean, tears are just streaming down my eyes. I'm like,
Aw.
oh God, no. But anyway, moving on. Your husband says Rob Alex is with me. We are
Hi,
jamming
Rob.
at home, Annie. He says hi too. So,
Aw.
and Russell Klimowski.
It's either my brother or my dad.
Okay, he says, "You go, girl. God bless." So,
That's got to be my daddy. Hey,
all
Dad.
right. How you doing, sir? Nice to see you in here. So, all right. So you do it. You go through all this. How does music come into the picture?
So after I started feeling a little better and I was down to therapy, like, 1 day a week, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work. I got to find a job, just something, right? So I landed a door and window company. It's called Searles Windows and Doors, and they've been super supportive with everything. They've been great. And so that's November 2019 was when I first started, and a few months later, COVID.
Oh yes, that bad word. That's something I talk about with everyone I interview. How did COVID affect you?
So what happened with me, it's funny because then when I've had interviews and stuff, people are like, oh, how's it affected your gigging and this and that? Well, I wasn't gigging yet. I wasn't
Right.
doing anything. So during COVID, when I had a bit of time off, I had a number or email. I'm showing my age, I guess, number in my back pocket. I had an email. I went to the listening room in Nashville, and it was kind of a makeup vacation, but that was another one that was probably a lot of work for my husband because I was still very much so in the healing process. We packed our car and we went to South Carolina. We went to Hilton Head, and then we kind of did a big U or circle from Chicago because we stopped at oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank. The name of anyway, we went to Hilton Head and then came back up around and went to Nashville before going home. And I got information for an artist coach. And, it's basically, I just kind of kept it on hand. Like if I ever want to dive back into music, it might be kind of fun to email this guy and just see. So anyway, I did. I found that information, and then I told him, I said, when I was younger, I said, I used to sing and, just kind of, I do covers and stuff like that. Not that there's anything wrong with doing covers, it's fun. No. It's still music. I love the music. I said, but I want to dive back into music theory and I want to start writing my own stuff. One thing led to another, and I wrote my first song, came out in like 20 minutes probably. And it was just off of an exercise that he's like, just kind of start humming over these chords, see what you come up with, blah, blah, blah. And it was in the key of G, and it was about my mom and about my journey after losing her. And I said, okay, so I've got this song. What do I do with it? And then my coach introduced me to my producer, and then and it's just been go after that. And it's been I feel like I got on a roller coaster, a really fun roller coaster, and it just went poof and took off, and I'm just having a blast.
Is that song one you've done now?
It's called Trust Me.
Trust Me. Yeah. I listened to it. I saw that video. That's very, very powerful. That's really good for a first song.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, I have the ultimate respect for people that do songwriting, because I sat down, it's been, we've been married 24 years now. So it was probably 6 years ago. I sat down one night and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to write something for my wife,
Yeah.
And it came out just like, boom, just like that, 20 minutes. And a couple of years later, I got a friend of mine who was in Nashville at the time. I called him and asked him, said, what, I'm going to send you these lyrics, because I don't do anything with the music. I can't play guitar. I'm trying to learn. But I said, I've got lyrics. I said, can you put it into a song for our anniversary. It's the 20th anniversary. And he was like, he got it. And I said, don't sugarcoat it. You know, you tell me if it's bad or what. And I said, if you need to change something, go ahead. And he was like, he texted me back. He said, dude, you don't need to change anything. This is good. He said, if you can give me like 11 more songs like this, we could make a country album. And of course, my head just went boom. And I was like, yeah, I could do this all day long. No, I have yet to write another one. You see that? So I tried and tried. I've yet to write another one. So, but I've got some stuff I'm working on, like titles I want to work on. But yeah, you just said it right then. That was one of my other questions going to be about songwriting. And your first song, that pretty much, how hard is it though? I mean, do you ever get that writer's block they talk about?
Oh yeah. So the next one I wrote was Falling into Nashville. And that one, I literally woke up with the chorus in my brain. Like it was like midnight, 1 a.m. And I just it was just there. And so I went down to my little keyboard and I hit record on the, like little voice recorder just so I wouldn't forget. And that one is actually all about, it was based off of my story. And actually the original lyrics were one of the verses, then I fell down and broke my wrist, then came life's biggest plot twist. But I'm like, I can't write that because no one's going to get it. Right. So I wanted to make it universal and I wanted to make it something where everybody could relate. So the verse turned into then life had knocked me down and God turned my path around and I fell into Nashville. But for me with that, I had the melody for the verse and the chorus, and I had all the words for the chorus, but the verses I was stuck on. Like, I'm like, how do I make this so, because if I make it too personal, no one's going to relate at all.
Right.
And I'm like, am I overthinking this? And then I got frustrated because I'm like, I had the other song in 20 minutes. Like, what the heck, And so, and I had most of this song, but I'm like, there were a few lines. I'm like, this just isn't making sense. And so I've been doing some co-writing with my producer and he's great. He's just tons of fun to work with. I learn a lot from him. He's become a great friend, but he's a songwriting buddy. He's just, I don't know. He's just an all around good guy, but oh man, can that guy write songs?
Yeah. I don't know.
He's like, what do you want to write about? And I'm like, wow, and then, just like, and our banter back and forth, it's just fun. You just literally just throw crap at the wall and something might be
see
really
if it sticks.
And then something might stick and but writer's block for me is a thing. Yes. And it happens. And then when it flows. So it's like one or the other.
I don't know how some of these people, and I know these are, the big time musicians and artists, some of them got songwriters for them, but some of these that can pop out 20, 25 songs just like that. And I'm like, how in the world are you doing it? You must, I would drive me crazy, but I got ultimate respect for them. That's all I got to say. Ultimate respect. And then talking about falling into Nashville, that was going to be something we talked about, autobiographical, of course. And then trust me, like I said, I when you pull out the picture in that video, I was like, yeah, that's got to be, and that's the kind of stuff I like. That's stuff you can relate to. Like you talked about that when you were writing that Falling in Nashville. If I do this, people aren't going to relate to it. Songs you can relate to is songs that tell stories like that, and just like we're going to get into in just a little bit with tonight. That's what I like to see, and that's what I've become a fan of over the years. Anybody can write a song about that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't go anywhere. Songs that go somewhere and tell a story, that's what I like to see. And you've definitely done that with the songs you've got right here.
Well, thanks.
What was it like getting in the recording studio for the first time?
Terrifying. Terrifying. And it wasn't David's fault. And, like, I feel so, David, I don't know. He's probably not watching right now. Maybe he is. I don't know. But that man is so busy. And he works and has worked with some, I always tell him, like, he's like an onion. Like the layers just keep peeling off. I'm like, you did what? And he's just a humble guy, but the talent that guy's got is just unbelievable. But when I met him, he was just so chill and down to earth. And, he just made me feel really comfortable. But I remember he had another artist there, and he's like, all right, he goes, who wants to go first? And I'm like, I was trembling.
There you go.
And because this was during COVID, I never met him in person, right? So we had some conversations on the phone and stuff like that. So I go down to Nashville, and I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm going to meet him in person for the first time. And so then the other artist was a guy, and then he's just like, oh, he goes, well, ladies first. I was like, no, he can go. Like, am I he can go. I want to see how this all goes down.
Right.
And I remember getting in the vocal booth for the first time, and I was like, okay, I'm like, and now I know, like, in the studio, it's a scratch vocal, and that one doesn't really matter. But I'm like, I'm in front of all these people who've done all these amazing things. I don't want to sound stupid. And Buddy Hyatt was the guy who was the band leader for Trust Me, the first one that I did. And at the end, he's like, wow, he goes, he said, those are some really nice vocals. And I was like, I can like still hear it. Like, it's coming through the headphones. I was like, oh my gosh, somebody actually said that to me. So I don't know. I'll carry that with me forever.
That gave you a big old boost there, I'm sure.
It just like, okay, because like any doubt that I had, and obviously, I've got so much work to do, and, and I, no matter how far things go, I mean, there's always stuff to work on. But it just made me feel like, okay, maybe I did make the right decision coming down here to do this. And, but yeah, I'll never forget. And then David said to my producer, he's just like, you look nervous. I'm like, no, I'm fine.
So your husband just chimed in and said, your producer also worked with Tesla.
Well, he's very, very good friends with Troy Luccketta, who is the drummer of Tesla. Right. What he's actually done for the band, I don't know what he's done, but I know he works with Troy on a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's but the first time I went to the studio, because my husband is such a huge Tesla fan, and he always, like, for years he'd be like, Alexa, play Tesla radio. And I was like, and no, like, I love Tesla too. I do. But Brian Tesla'd me out. Like, I'm like, okay.
Burnout. How can you get burnout with Tesla?
I mean, I shouldn't. Well, but because that's like, okay. So I love you, Brian. But like,
here we go.
He was like, I mean, it was 80s, like, just 80s hair metal all the time, every day, and that's, but you know what? I've converted.
Hey, Brian. I'm right there with you, buddy.
And I love it too, but like, that was all he listened to. And I'm somebody who, like I said, I like, sometimes in the morning I'll have, it literally would be classical, or it would be, sometimes I have, like the electronic chill music on, or like, I'm literally all over the map.
Right.
I think Alexa, stop.
No, you did not.
I don't know. I'm not at home.
You said a while ago it played it.
I'm not at home right now. I'm actually at my guitarist's house.
Okay.
Yeah. So because we were rehearsing, and when I said something, music.
Hey, Brian, I hope it's playing Tesla right now.
Oh, that's funny. Well, either way, yeah. So, yeah, love Tesla, but it was like, yeah, serious. So anyway, I kind of totally went off path here, but basically my producer said, would you mind if Troy Luccketta he was in Tesla, he was the drummer, would you mind if he sat in on your session? And I was like, yeah, no, I don't care. Your face right there. That's exactly my husband sitting there. We don't really know David other than he's producer man, right? And so, and Brian was like, oh my God, that'd be so cool. And so, he didn't end up getting to go, but I mean, just the fact that it might happen, because he's just such a huge fan. But I got him the drum head. And then Troy did call him to say thanks for, picking up the drum head and blah, 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 and helping David's friend Tom out and stuff like that. And so to see the smile on Brian's face with the drum head, and then after he got that phone call, was just priceless.
Yeah, Brian's comment right now said he's going to play Signs right now just for the hell of it.
Good.
He's going to get it all out while you're not there, I guess.
Well, as much as he listened to Tesla, I've now converted Brian to a country guy. So he listens to more country rock, but so it's just when Brian likes something, he really likes something. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm getting ready to turn 50 this year. I started listening to Kiss, believe it or not, when I was 5 years old. My cousin showed me the cover of Destroyer, and I was like, of course, I fell in for the look, but I've stayed in it over the years. So yeah, my wife can probably, she can probably sympathize with you and Tesla with Kiss too. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about tonight. Just came out the 14th.
Yes.
And like we said, this is, and I kind of got the feeling that this was a personal story here, but I wasn't sure. But because just listening to your other songs, I could tell that was personal. But talk a little bit about how Tonight come about.
So Tonight is one of a few songs that it was one of my first co-writes with David. And it is about it was based off the story of my husband and I, our love story. So that night at the karaoke bar, Brian and I were friends for about 5 years before we dated for the last time. So, and I knew that like, if we had started dating, I'm like, we're either going to date and we're never going to be friends again, or we're going to end up married. So here we are. So it's the latter, and that's great. So, but yeah, I think he wants to be that guy in my dreams.
Right.
Who wants to steal my heart, or so it seems. I actually wasn't sure. So, and there's lines in there too, where it's like, I'm feeling so confused. In fact, I'm pretty blue. Then he came on to me like deja vu. So it was like, there was, I can't even remember what song it was. I don't know the name of the song. It'll come to me later on, but I can hear it in my brain. But he came up behind me and he's got his arms around me and he's like singing the song with me. And a friend of mine at the time, she was just like, Brian likes you. Like, Brian's so into you. I go, Brian's like my friend. No, it's not like that. It's not like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. She's like, you're an idiot. She's like, it was just funny. So yeah, gosh, it's so long ago now. I can't remember. We didn't end up starting to date that night, but that's when I realized, okay, there might be something. And then there were a couple times where we saw each other, and I know he went in for a kiss a couple times, and I was like, not yet.
Wow.
Well, it was only because, like, I just wasn't, like I said, I'm like, I'm either going to ruin a friendship or, like, I just,
Brian, I'm sorry, bud.
There
was wrong.
There was a point though where, and gosh, this was so long ago. So I was dating a different guy named Brian. There were multiple Brians. So
that'll be the next song.
Oh gosh. I guess there probably is a song in there somewhere. But so Brian and I, this must have been before the karaoke night. I can't remember, but I remember I was taking classes through the bank I was working for, and it was like some basic accounting classes and some other stuff. And I totally fibbed. I'm like, I don't know how to take the train into the city. And I wanted him to like just ride the train with me and show me where to go. And, I'm playing the helpless little girl kind of a thing. And then I remember we ended up back at his place, and so I'm going to totally date myself here. The movie Titanic was out, and he was see Titanic. Yeah. And I said, no, I can't go because I'm going to have dinner at my boyfriend's house. And he said, and finally he got to a point, he goes, I've got enough friends. And I was like, oh, damn, he said that.
Go on, boy. You put it all out there.
He did. So anyway, needless to say, within probably a few months time, the rest is history, and here we are. So, but yeah, it kind of goes through that whole thing, like, I think he's the guy, but I'm not sure, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, kind of talking about, just that, if you really feel a certain way about somebody, send me a message, give me a clue, and I'll fall head over heels in love with you. If you just reach out your hand, I've been dying to dance. But boy, you're running out of time, so let's make it right tonight. So it's just like the whole, isn't that how it is with a lot of people, that, you think that all those confused feelings that, but you never know.
That's what I'm talking about relating with. Everybody can relate with that situation. What you're talking about in tonight, everybody, I think, if you haven't, then you probably haven't been in a relationship or one that meant a lot. But yeah, everybody's been in that situation. You put it, because listening to it, and I like to listen to, I'll listen to it without my headphones on, but when I listen to it with my headphones, you really get the effect. You really hear the lyrics. That's when I'm like, okay, I can totally see this picture. You can totally see this happening right now. But yeah, and tonight, you guys check it out on YouTube. She's got the lyric video up there. She's also got her videos up there for Falling in Nashville. Trust me, and just make sure you subscribe to her YouTube channel if you. Please, everybody out there. And your dad is saying, and your sister married a Brian too?
Oh, yes.
Jeez, what?
Okay, so this is
what do y'all do at Christmas? Y'all just come Brian.
Okay, so Mary, my sister, I dated a Scott in high school. She dated a Scott. I don't know if it just kind of became a thing. And then not on purpose. It just is what happened. And then I married a Brian. She married, and her
don't tell me she
college
named
boyfriend, now that
Brian.
I think of it, I think she had a college dad, if you're listening still. I think she had a college boyfriend named Jay, and I had an ex named Jay. So it's kind of weird how that happened, but whatever. But okay, so the Brian thing, there literally was, okay, there's a song. I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral, right? So my grandmother's funeral, wake, heading from the wake to the funeral home. I know you're like, where are you going with this? There was a Brian side of the casket with pallbearers. I have a husband, Brian.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
I have a husband, Brian. I have a brother-in-law, Brian. I have a cousin, Brian, and my cousin's husband at the time was Brian, and they have a son named Ryan. I'm surrounded by Brians.
Invasion of the Brians.
I know.
Your dad said you were right. You were right about Jay, her having a boyfriend named Jay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, because for a while there, I'm like, Mary, come on. I'm like, can I just pick, but no, it's kind of funny that we both married a Brian too. It's almost comical because now, and especially that, and then the cousin Brian and the other cousin's husband is named Brian.
Your Brian is saying, I'm not embarrassed at all. I don't know. I don't know what we could embarrass him about, but so like we said, guys, check her out on anywhere you stream music. You can check her website out. We'll talk a little bit about that again before we get out of here. But AnnieVanderMusic.com. Check Apple, Spotify. Please give her as many streams as you can. I'm sure she would appreciate every bit you would do. Look at her. How can you not do that? Right.
Oh, thanks.
Before we get back to the plugs, and you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Those quick hitting questions.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's terrifying me.
No, you'll be fine. So, first one, favorite song.
Oh, my favorite song is this is too.
It's a Tesla song, right?
No, I'm sorry, Troy and David and Brian.
If it's like me, it changes by the week.
It does.
Yes, it does. And you go by what you think it might be this week.
Honestly, you're gonna laugh at me. It's this is so it's not country at all. Do you remember it's Crazy Rock? Brian knows. Brian, you're watching. What was that song? It's it just reminds when I started my business with a pet care business that came on the radio, and then it was just like Party Rock. That's what it was with Red Foo. Totally not country, but it just it's no matter what kind of a mood I'm in, it just instantly puts me in a good mood. Party rock. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Have to check that out. I may have heard. He said he's saying LMFAO right now.
LMFAO.
Yeah. Now that one I know what you're talking about, because I was like, I may not know about what the title you're saying, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
And you know, like I said, and like, but like musically, probably not, but honest, like if I had to pick a song, it's just like, it just instantly makes me smile. So yeah.
Look, like we said, we don't typecast to like country music or anything like that. So, favorite movie?
Jumanji.
I thought you were going to say Titanic.
No, it's a close second, but
yeah.
Jumanji. Oh.
Jumanji. Now, okay, hold on. Is it the Robin Williams version or the one with The Rock in it?
No, the original.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Favorite artist or band?
Keith Urban.
Ooh, okay. All right. So if you could collaborate with anyone that's passed away or still here, past or present, who would it be?
Keith Urban.
I got you. Watch out, Brian. Next thing you know, she's gonna be with Keith, and then there's gonna be a bunch of Keiths coming into family. I guess.
No, not even like that. That guy is just a musical genius.
He is. I like a lot of Keith Urban stuff.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, the way he plays guitar, you know, and I've seen him on different shit. Like he just, I don't know. I've never seen him like in person or anything like that. But I mean, he just comes across. My guitarist is waving over there. He's like, yeah, because he met him he was at a church service and he happened to be sitting right in front of him. And I was like,
really?
Oh. Yeah. I'm like,
wow.
But honestly, it's not even the whole, like, you know, and if Keith Urban somehow sees this, it's not like, you know, the whole starstruck thing. Like, I just seriously, genuinely he just seems like a musician's musician. Like, I would just love to pick his brain about things and, you know, just be able to work with him that way. Like, that's, yeah.
I promise you, if Keith Urban is watching this right now, and I will be shocked if Keith Urban's watching me right now. But I think he'll work with you if he's watching us right now. Okay, so last one, and you kind of answered this, but let's go a different song. Something you listen to that people would be surprised you listen to.
Well, probably was the LMFAO.
Yeah, that was what I said. You probably answered that question right then. It's like a guilty pleasure. I tell people all the time when I try to give an example, as much as I listen to like Kiss, Tesla, yeah, Brian, I'm throwing it out there for you, buddy. All that hard rock stuff. But at that time, I was a big time Debbie Gibson fan. I just thought, oh my gosh, she was great. I actually have CDs over here of hers. So yeah, I'm still a Debbie Gibson fan. Brian is saying she doesn't like my tattoos, but Keith's are good. Okay.
Well, did I say that once out loud?
Oh Lord. Come on, Brian.
Anyway. So Brian and I back really not a terribly long time ago. It was pre-accident for me. We both did like Ironman, like crazy triathlon stuff. I had to drop out of the full Ironman. I'm only half an Ironman, but he completed the full one. For people who don't know, that race is 140.6 miles. It's
much respect for you, Brian. If you did that, because I do some running and stuff, and yeah, much respect for you for doing that.
So he said that he goes, if I complete the Ironman, I'm gonna get a tattoo. And I was thinking in my brain, like, there's no way. Like, I shouldn't say there's no way, because if Brian puts his mind to something, he will do it. So. He did not forget the night he completed that race. He was designing his tattoo right away. So yeah. So yes, I'm very happy for him with his tattoo. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you just released tonight, and that's doing well, I'm sure. Anything we can look for in the near future from Annie Vander?
I do have a summer release we're working on. Final mix is being completed, and we just need to get the artwork done. So I don't have a release date or anything for that yet, but that one will probably be. I don't know if there's going to be anything that anyone's expecting from me, but it's probably definitely on the sassier side of what I've done. So yeah, so that's. I don't know what else to say about it right now, but it's definitely going to be fun.
Don't spill the beans. Don't spill the beans. But I'll tell you what, we'll definitely want to have you back on here when that happens. Maybe you plan on doing a Tesla cover album, right?
Maybe I should cover a Tesla song. I'd need permission though. But yeah.
Oh wow, Brian. Brian, if you're still listening, everybody talks about Love Song. Everybody talks about Signs. There's two songs that I really listen to and I love from Tesla. Paradise is one of them, and Changes.
Yeah.
I love Changes. But anyway, it feels like I'm doing an interview with Brian now, don't it? Brian, we're going to have you on and just have Tesla discussion up here. So before we let you go, let's talk a little bit about where we can find you. Talk a little bit where we can find you. Social media, everything, your website, everything.
Yeah, so my website is AnnieVanderMusic.com. I'm on all the social media. It's Annie Vander Music on Facebook. It's Annie_Vander on Instagram. Annie_Vander on TikTok. I need to get on that a little bit more. I was posting more of my dogs on there.
I don't know. I'm just now learning how to do TikTok.
Yeah. TikTok is
it's more complicated.
Yeah, well, maybe it's. I don't know. I'm sure I could get on there. I like to. I post about my pups on there a lot, and and I'll throw some music stuff in. But that's more like my daily, just kind of fun stuff. And Instagram is definitely more music, and and in Facebook it's all the music stuff too. So yeah. And then, of course, to stream the music, it's YouTube and Amazon and Spotify and all the streaming places. So
check her out, guys. Follow her, stream her, subscribe to her, do all that good stuff for her. And like I said, we will definitely, when the time comes and you do that summer release, whenever it's coming out, I will get with Nicole. We'll definitely got to have you back on. We got to get Brian in on this too now. I mean, Brian, I'm serious now. If you want to come on and we'll do some Tesla talk, we can do a separate episode, and we could talk for about 2 hours about Tesla, I'm sure, between me and you.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah, we could do that. But thank you so much. It's been a blast talking to you. And like I said, and I meant when I said, I know people probably tell you stuff like that, but I meant all the time, seriously, your story could be a really good movie. I mean,
thank you.
Just the way it worked out and the way it has worked out for you. Yeah, I don't know if we'd have enough people to play all the Brians in your life, but we'll, but
need a lot of.
Thank you so much. I've had a great time with you, and I hope you have had fun.
It's been a blast. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for the laughs and thanks for having me.
Hey, that's what it's all about. I want to have fun, and it's just like two people talking back and forth. Want to have fun with you. So,
I see the clock. It does not feel like it says 55 minutes.
I know. I was looking. Look, a while ago, I was looking at it when we were at like 38. I was like, no, we ain't been on that long. So that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing. Yes. Time flies when you're having fun.
It does. It does. Well, I'm sure I'll see you soon, and I subscribe back on your thing. I'm glad we met. And
yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
And you guys be keeping your ears open and go check out Miss Annie Vander. And we'll see you next time on The Fly.
I think he wants to be that guy in my dreams who wants to steal my heart, or so it seems. I've heard it all through tonight, tonight, tonight. If he only knew I felt the same way too, I'm sure he'd turn around and make a move, 'cause I'm filled with butterflies and I can't sleep at night. I've never felt this way. I need him by my lonely side tonight, tonight. Send me a message, give me a clue, and I'll fall head over heels in love with you. If you just reach out your hand, I've been dying to dance, but boy, you're running out of time. So let's make it right tonight. I'm feeling so confused. In fact, I'm pretty blue. Then he came on to me like deja vu, and that's when we both knew dreams to come true. We talked the whole night through, but he ain't made a move, and it's win or lose tonight, tonight. Send me a message, give me a clue, and I'll fall head over heels in love with you. If you just reach out your hand, I've been dying to dance, but boy, you're running out of time. So let's make it right tonight. We dance the night away like we own the place, and we're still together to this very